What are some of the things that you should be thinking about if you're going to cold call somebody? What are things that you should maybe be considerate of saying and things that you should avoid saying?
In a situation like that, for example, you know their pain points and they know their own pain points. So you have to be kind of tread the water carefully, don't you? And say, have you looked at all different angles, or have you considered different ways of kind of consolidating, or have you kind of attempted to sort of boost your credit up by different, do you know what I mean, different strategies, or different, have you tried different areas of kind of getting out of this, rather than saying you've got this and this going on and it's really diabolical and you're up shit creek without a paddle? Just kind of, do you know what I mean, try and fluff it up a little bit. But I've never done that, so that's kind of a little bit sort of, should we say, new to me. So I'd have to kind of try different angles and that kind of thing. But the thing with cold calling is, if you're doing a real cold call, they don't know who you are from Adam. They don't know what you do or anything like that. So you kind of want to get straight to the point. They know you're cold calling them because they don't know you. You can't say, all right, mate, it's such a body, how's it going? Because they don't know you. So you need to be kind of straight to the point, and don't try and pull the wool over their eyes or anything like that. Don't try and be too clever with it. Just literally say, right, so I'm calling from such and such place. We're just wondering if you've tried this and this method for your marketing strategy or whatever it is. And then you're like, well, yeah, we're quite happy with ours. All right, excellent. So you're not even considering looking at any other angles or any other options at the moment? Well, maybe. How about if you let me send you an email? What's the best email to get you? You know what I mean? So you're just trying to slowly break them down. If you can get through to, that's why a lot of people get confused with what a cold call is. If you've emailed somebody or you've had some kind of, that's not a cold call anymore. A proper cold call, they don't know anything about you. They don't know anything about your service. They don't know where you come from, anything like that. So that's a real cold call. So yeah, I mean, just again, it all depends on the situation as well. If you're ringing a big company, you're probably gonna have to try and get past the gatekeeper and stuff. But if you're already speaking to the right person, just have a laugh with them. Just try and break the ice as well. That's always a good way. If you can get a bit of humor out of somebody, just say, look, I'm cold calling you today, mate. How's it going? You know, just say something like that. So like, well, at least they know straight away that it's a cold call. You know what I mean? Just kind of don't take yourself or them too seriously.
Yeah, I have had people call me, and they would call, and I'd be like, hello, and they're like, hi, may I speak with Jake? I'm like, yeah, this is Sam. And they're like, oh, hey Jake, how are you doing today? I'm like, I'm doing fine. They're like, oh, and they just started trying to like spark up small talk. I'm like, I have no idea this person. Who is this person? And then they finally like got into it. I was like, oh, okay. Like I now I feel like very misled. Like, yeah. It's like, if you just, yeah, like you said, just jump in, like, hey, listen, this is what I'm calling about, and I'm just trying to see if this is something that would be of interest to you, and you know, if we need to move forward, you know, we move forward with it. But yeah, so that's it's definitely a dicey game, I would imagine. Like, is it something where, do you have any, like, whenever you're talking about cold calling, do you ever like, what's the metrics look like? What's the conversion rate that you think about? If that's how I'm doing my sales, like, am I thinking that I need to call 100 people to get the one sale, or like, is it like, what does that look like?
Yeah, I think your numbers probably, it all depends on different industries, that there are slight different percentages, but you could be looking at something like 3 to 5 in every 100, or 2 to 5 in every 100. So it is literally, I mean, a lot of people say it's not a numbers game, but when you're strictly doing cold calling and proper cold calling, it is a numbers game. Let's not like mix with our words here. You're going to get a lot of people hang up. You're going to get a lot of answer messages. You're going to get a lot of voicemails. You're going to get a lot of hang ups. So once you get your head around that, and you just literally think, right, every time I dial 100 people, I'm going to get 2 or 3 people show a slight bit of interest. So they're the only ones I'm interested in. I don't give a flying poo about the rest of the 97 or 98 people I speak to, or hang up or voicemail. They don't concern me. It's like when I say to people they don't like to be ignored, they don't like rejection, right? If I'm what's the other way? Like, so say for example, we're back on the doors, right? So I'm knocking doors. And then 50 doors. So it's just, I used to go off a 50 door evening. I want to knock 50 doors in a night, because straight away out of that 50 doors, I'm only probably going to speak to 20 people, because 30 people aren't going to even answer the door, or they're not going to be in. So your numbers are depleting straight away. So I might speak to 20 people. Out of that 20 people, I might get 3 to 5 people showing a bit of interest. So I couldn't care less about the other 15 people I've spoke to, or they've closed the door, or whatever. It doesn't really bother me, because all I'm bothered about is that small percentage of the people that are going to. So when you start to think like this, the no's are irrelevant. All the no is closer to that yes. So if I have to speak to 20 people and I have to listen to 15 no's, I don't care about them, because that's getting me close to those 5 yeses. So 15 no's is equal to 5 yeses, or just keep doing the maths. And I'm not a maths genius or anything. I'm relatively average at maths, but that's all I ever do, is just keep it into plain terms and use numbers.
Is there anything that people should look out for when they know they've got a yes? Like if I called you, John, and I said, hey man, I've got this really amazing product or whatever the thing is. And because obviously you're not going to immediately come out and say yes. I guess it's just a level of interest that they have to entertain the conversation.
Yeah.
Kind of where it takes it from. I just didn't know if there was something. Sometimes I used to have, like in my lighting company, I would have this. We had I called them green flags and red flags. And as we started having more consultations, now these were people who were coming to us. They actually reached out to us and said, I'm interested in learning about that was kind of our sales process. People would reach out, then they would schedule time to come into our consultation room to have that meeting about lighting for their event. And what we would do is, like, anytime we saw like a pattern of response that would lead to either a yes or a no, we would document that, because we would be like, okay, anytime we would hear this, we typically knew, or something around that same context, we knew that would typically either lead or one or two directions. And depending on how early on you would catch it, you would know how to like gauge the level of follow through you should continue with, because sometimes people just aren't qualified. So what do you think about that? Like, do you have any kind of, I guess, qualifiers or like triggers or cues in your head when you're doing these calls of like, when people do this or that, it's kind of giving me some where to take
that's a great question. Well, the thing with cold calling, it's exactly the same on the doors as it is on the phones, right? You've got a very, very small window. When I used to knock on a door, when they answered it, it used to take me about 15 seconds to figure out whether it was an appointment or not. That's all it would take, because I can feel the body language and I can tell whether they're open to like me discussing something with them or not. Do you know what I mean? It's that small window. It's probably even smaller with a phone call. So it'd be, I'm just calling from such and such a place today. I just wondered if you consider doing this, this, and this for your business. Just be straight and honest with them. And then you're going to know, because they'll go, no, not really, boom. Or, well, yeah, I have kind of considered, boom, then you're in. Right, excellent. So why don't you let me send you a little bit of information by email? What would be the best email to get hold of you on? I'll send you all the information of what we do and everything. And then we can, if it sounds like it's up your street, we can book in a chat to discuss things further. Something like that. Does that make sense? So
yeah.
You want to get that hook in straight away. So that's why with a cold call, you don't want to beat around the bush. You don't want to go, and doing all like rapport. When people build rapport and stuff like this, when you've got time. If somebody's booked a discovery call with you, they've already been through some kind of process. They kind of have a good idea of what they want. You've got time to build some rapport with them. But if you've cold called someone, you haven't got that time. You've got to get that hook in straight away. So my name is John. I'm calling from X and Y and Z company. I just wondered if you considered doing this, this, and this within your company recently, or have you looked at changing the X strategy to get you this in your company? So you haven't got time to mess about. You want to be straight to the point. Whatever your service provides, you want to ask them if they require it, or they're looking to tweak it, or whatever it is, whatever kind of angle you can get at them at, and then you're just going to get the kind of yes or no. So that's the difference with the cold call and the warm calls, is you haven't got the kind of time to mess about and do things and stretch things out and build rapport and blah, blah, blah. That comes next. When you get to that stage, that's once you've managed to email them or you've managed to get that follow-up call, that's when you can do all that kind of stuff. But you have to be kind of quick off the mark.
Have you ever had do you have a story to share? Maybe you don't. I'm just going to put you on the spot for a second. Have you ever had a situation where somebody you've cold called somebody and they've given you a response that leads to like a very clear no, but somehow, just somehow, you're able to magically turn it around to a yes.
Yeah, it happened the other day. I'm cold calling for real estate at the moment. And he said, listen, he said, I get people like you ringing all the time. I said, I know, yeah, but you haven't had me speaking to you yet, have you? And he said, well, how much does it cost? I said, well, I can discuss all that with you. It'll only take 20 minutes on a Zoom call. Are you fixed for that? I'll send you the link now. In fact, while I've got you on the phone, I can get my calendar up and I'll book you in. What times are you available next week? Boom, just completely turning around, because he went from stone cold, no, I speak to you people all the time, I'm sick of hearing about it, to yeah, go on, then I'll get you booked in next week.
Wow.
And that literally that took like 10 seconds.
You said you make it sound so easy.